In a heart-stopping moment, a man finds himself in a precarious position, hanging from the edge of a sand cliff, with the daunting threat of a 100-meter plunge onto unforgiving sharp rocks below. A team of wave riders arrives at an uninhabited island with the intention of conquering the towering surf. The close-knit group enjoys their time together, culminating in an evening gathering around a crackling campfire. Amidst these convivial moments, the group's eldest surfer, Nilo, reveals that he has entered into a romantic relationship with a young woman. Nilo's newfound love prompts him to consider bidding farewell to the world of surfing and embark on a journey to Canada alongside his girlfriend. The news elicits joy from everyone, except for a certain individual named Alvaro. While the others revel in merriment, Alvaro, consumed by sadness, seeks solace in alcohol and wistfully observes his former flame, Ona. Alvaro and Ona recently parted ways due to Alvaro's frequent arguments and infidelity. On that night, she dances with another man. Alvaro, influenced by alcohol, engages in a drunken fight with his rival, displaying rude behavior. Nilo intervenes and escorts Alvaro away from the dance floor. The friends engage in a conversation about life, during which Nilo encourages Alvaro to honestly share his concerns. Alvaro expresses that Nilo has disrupted their shared plans. Initially, they had intended to explore surfing destinations worldwide and seek romantic connections in various locations. However, Nilo now regards those plans as childish. He is deeply in love with his girlfriend, and furthermore, they are anticipating the arrival of a baby. Alvaro politely declines Nilo's invitation to visit Canada occasionally, expressing his disinterest. But here's the twist. Alvaro had secretly purchased tickets to an Indonesian beach town to surf with a friend. Surprising Nilo, he hands over those tickets, evoking deep emotions and bringing them closer to reconciliation. Yet Alvaro still grapples with trust, seeing his friend's affection as a betrayal. In the end, Alvaro departs alone from the island's center in a vehicle, leaving us wondering about the complexities of friendship. In the early morning, he awakens inside his vehicle, burdened by a severe hangover. Numerous notifications inundate his phone. Alvaro's sister kindly informs him that she celebrated her birthday yesterday, a fact he regrettably overlooked. Furthermore, his father's health has taken a critical turn, and his absence is deeply felt. Nevertheless, Alvaro's family harbors no resentment towards him. They display patience and understanding, willing to await his self-discovery and desire to re-establish their bond. Meanwhile, he arrives at a secluded stretch of the island, devoid of any signs of life. Carrying his backpack and surfboard, he embarks on a quest to discover a suitable surfing spot. Alvaro walks along the steep sandy shoreline when suddenly he stumbles and loses his grip on the board. The loose sand propels him towards a towering rocky cliff. With immense determination, Alvaro clings on momentarily, yet he finds himself incapable of ascending, as any endeavor causes the sand to give way once again. Frantically, he digs his fingers into the shifting sand, but his efforts prove futile as he continues to slide down the slope. At that precise moment, the sound of his ringing phone emanates from within his backpack. Alvaro desperately reaches out to seize it and implores for assistance, but the unrelenting force of the sand propels him inexorably towards the cliff's edge. He finds himself ensnared in a desolate predicament, suspended perilously above jagged rocks and shallow waters, devoid of the ability to move or rescue himself. Alvaro strains his ears, endeavoring to discern the opportune instant when a colossal wave crashes against the rocks, enabling him to leap into the water unharmed. With precision, he selects the right moment and plunges forward. His hips collide forcefully with submerged rocks, yet he resurfaces and swims to safety. Scaling a nearby rock, he rises to his feet momentarily, only to succumb to immediate descent due to the searing pain from his broken hip, resulting from the underwater impact. After a period of time, consciousness returns. During his second fall, he sustains a deep cut on his palm and a head injury. Blood stains his thigh, but he retains the ability to move his toes on the wounded leg. Retrieving his phone from the backpack, Alvaro's hopes are shattered as he discovers it is irreparably broken and unresponsive. In a state of desperation, he cries out for assistance, but the desolate surroundings offer no help within several kilometers. Alvaro wraps a t-shirt tightly around his bleeding palm, contemplating his next course of action. Despite his weakened state, he realizes that swimming to shore is his only option, though it feels nearly impossible. With great agony, He lowers himself into the water, overwhelmed by the piercing pain. Struggling to paddle with just one arm and one leg, exhaustion consumes him, pushing him dangerously close to drowning. Internal bleeding causes his stomach to cramp, and he lets out anguished screams before submerging. Alvaro's will to fight for survival wanes, and he relinquishes control, releasing the air from his lungs as he slowly descends into the depths. In this moment, a hallucination takes hold. Alvaro envisions being rescued and returning to shore with Ona. Memories flood his mind, including the regrettable confrontation that ensued when he misunderstood her interaction with another person at the bonfire party. Yet, amidst the recollections, there are also cherished moments from their relationship. For instance, there was a time when Alvaro surprised Ona with a candlelit dinner on a secluded part of the island during a moonless night. At that moment, she harbored feelings for him, but those emotions have since waned. Now, Alvaro extends his plea to Ona, confessing his impending drowning and seeking her forgiveness. However, he grapples with articulating the specific wrongs he has committed against his beloved. Instead, his mind conjures memories of the hardships she endured throughout their relationship. She recounts instances of his infidelity, the humiliations she suffered, and his lack of love and affection. Meanwhile, in reality, Alvaro continues to sink deeper, consumed by his fear of loneliness. He returns, and Ona reappears in his line of sight. She draws near, offering comfort and suggesting a fresh start through a mutual breakup. Alvaro realizes that he must also apologize to others, fueling his determination to persevere. With a bittersweet parting kiss, Ona imbues him with the strength to push off the seabed and fight for his life. Alvaro resurfaces, and in his mind's eye, Ona walks away, leaving him to confront his own stark reality. He manages to reach the shore successfully, only to regain consciousness under the shade of a massive rock. Flies settle on his open wounds, and he realizes that immediate help is not available. Suddenly, his attention is captured by a fragment of a surfboard being thrown onto the beach by the relentless waves. Realizing the necessity of leaving the exposed shoreline, Alvaro determines that swimming is his best option. Crawling towards the cliffs where the board has washed ashore, he encounters worsening surf conditions. A wave propels him forward, and he is forcefully thrown headfirst against the jagged rocks, leading to another bout of unconsciousness. Upon awakening, he finds himself submerged in the incoming tide, desperately holding onto his backpack strap to secure himself in place. Despite a passing helicopter overhead, Alvaro remains unnoticed. Eventually, the tide retreats, leaving him immobilized against the rock, his grip unwavering on his backpack. A seagull swoops down and pecks at the exposed flesh of his injured palm, jolting him back to reality. Summoning his last reserves of strength, he crawls into the shelter of the shadows. Along the way, he accidentally impales his hand on a discarded fishhook. Overwhelmed by helplessness, blood loss, and dehydration, despair overwhelms him, leading to another loss of consciousness. Under the cloak of darkness, Alvaro awakens, propelled by an insatiable thirst. Resolute in his mission to quench it, he carves out a hole in the sand, lining its base with tinfoil salvaged from his backpack. He relieves himself into the cavity, yet the presence of blood taints the urine, rendering it undrinkable. Overwhelmed by agony, Alvaro cleanses his unhealed wounds with salt water. Wrapping himself in foil and draping a fishing net discovered on the shore around his weary body, he seeks solace from the frigid night in his fevered state. The distant rumble of thunder reverberates, heralding the imminent arrival of rain, a potential source of sustenance. Eagerly situating a cup beneath the cascading droplets, Alvaro's hope is short-lived as the rain hastily dissipates, leaving him with a meager collection of inadequate droplets. Throughout the night, he fervently whispers to himself, desperately clutching onto the flame of survival. With the dawning of a new day, a seagull ventures near, but Alvaro, armed with a stick and nails, repels the intruder, unleashing a torrent of curses in its wake. It is at this moment that the sound of his ringing phone reverberates in proximity. Alvaro deduces that the phone has been deposited ashore, and its functionality restored. Fueled by renewed determination, he unearths the device from the sandy abyss and answers a video call from his parents. Alvaro desperately reaches out to his parents, recounting his harrowing ordeal and pleading for their help. However, they engage in mundane conversation, oblivious to their son's distress. It dawns on Alvaro that this is yet another hallucination, causing him to break down in tears as he expresses his profound love for his parents. As the hallucination fades, Alvaro's attention is once again drawn to the wrecked surfboard on the shore. With newfound determination, he manages to reach it. Alvaro envisions his friends, fellow surfers, calling him to join them in the ocean. It feels as though he's standing on his own 2 feet, rushing to catch a wave, reminiscing about the beauty of his life before the tragic accident. Yet he remains helpless, lying on the beach, repeatedly affirming his will to survive. Alvaro communicates to the swooping seagulls that he is still alive. Thoughts of Ona, his beloved, fill his mind, and he gathers his resolve, deciding to swim away with all his remaining strength on a fragment of the plank. Somewhere ahead, he spots a boat with people, unsure if it's real or just another mirage. Alvaro thinks of Ona once more and continues swimming forward. Unfortunately, his strength wanes, and he succumbs to the depths, losing his final glimmer of hope for salvation. His only last-minute thoughts are of Ona. Suddenly, a passing boat traverses his location, grabbing the attention of a diver who swims promptly to Alvaro's side, pulling him up to the surface. As they emerge, a medallion slips from Alvaro's neck, sinking into the depths below, forever connecting him to that shore. A helicopter descends to rescue Alvaro, and the medical team promptly tends to his needs. In the hospital, he reunites with Nelo, his miraculous savior, and recounts the elements that contributed to his survival. Alvaro confesses his fear of death and the immense guilt he carried for his loved ones. He didn't want to be someone's vile memory. Now Alvaro wishes he had been able to be happy for Nelo when he told him about his crush. Alvaro admits that at the time he felt only envy, but now he is truly happy for his friend. Alvaro no longer wants to be completely selfish. He regretted not hugging his father for years and not telling him he loved him. Alvaro admits that he has never really fallen in love. The guy only likes Ona because she is objectively reasonable, but not for Alvaro. The guy decides to let go of Ona even though it hurts. The main thing Alvaro has learned is that he can be alone and survive. He ends his story with tears in his eyes. Time passes, and Alvaro visibly recovers in the hospital and decides to start a new life. At that moment, he is visited by Ona. This story is based on actual events. A surfer named Alvaro Vizcaino once went missing for 2 days and, exhausted, was rescued in the sea 2 kilometers from the shore.